Wow. Wow. You do not want to allow. I don't care what the engine says.
No.
No. It's just not the way you play chess.
It's not just the fact that Hikaru Nakamura, one of the best chess players in the world, leaves the commentators practically speechless that makes this game special, but also that he's just returned from a vacation in Fabiano Caruana's throw. So to see them then sit down at the board opposite each other in St. Louis American Cup final was just an absolute treat. Now this is a game of blitz chess, short time control. Let's check that out with the clock times on the left there, as you can see, and they're playing for the final of the whole thing. They couldn't be separated in the two rapid games. This is a classic. Let's check it out. Fabi goes with the pony. We don't see a Berlin defense, but Hikaru goes for this one. The Gucci Reza piano on the board, named after the king of fashion himself. When are we going to see him back in St. Louis with those epic shoes? We hope soon. We now see knight f6 and the modest d3, bishop e7, and no c3 or castles, but knight c3. A stalwart opening of every junior chess player up and down the country, wherever you live. Go to any local tournament, you'll see it all over the board. We see d6 played, a3 gives the bishop some room, castles, bishop e3, and this one now puts the question to that one. So what does Fabi do? Was about to say Hikaru. He hops forward with this knight here, centralizing, and now a strange couple of moves from Hikaru. First, queen to c8. You could take that bishop, but Fabi decides no. It's a bit of a miserable piece right now. So instead we see bishop b3, and now Hikaru plays bishop d8, clearly on some kind of side quest, sticking it on the queen square already, saving it of course, and now after castles he decides to give up this bishop. I mean, is he really a grandmaster or a very naughty boy? We see pawn captures, this one rotating, c4 explosive and supporting the center, kills this guy, but it could hop back. Then you go d4. Now this knight forays forth and Fabi saves his bishop pair, and Hikaru fights against the center with pawn to c ships. A real favourite of Fabi, by the way. He often visualizes that move. We now see takes, and you could take with the pawn, but then this could be problematic. You know, do you push or do you go c5? Well, the problem is this pawn, right? This is the thing. So we didn't see that one. We saw queen takes instead. Now this cannon hits the c-file and bishop b6 keeps an eye on the pawn break, connects the rooks, sets up tactics against the king. Bishop a4, no time to blunder your queen, it drops, and before Hikaru can do anything else, Fabi sets up the Uno Reverso bathtub pawn formation, reminiscent of Ali Reza, who loves to practice in his bathtub with his Uno deck when he's getting ready for a full chess tournament. What do we see now? Pawn a5, fighting against that structure, but it invites bishop g5, played by Fabi, and this is where the game just gets nuts.
You do not want to allow. I don't care what the engine says.
No.
It's just not the way you play chess.
Because surely you go queen e7, support the knight, or you drop it back or something. What you don't do is take on b4.
Wow.
Allow Fabi to mangle your
mushrooms,
leave you with one that only a mother could love, and then you've got to try and find safety and not get checkmated. Now, why didn't we see the move of takes on b4? I mean, I think 99% of us watching this video, right, we're taking that pawn, obviously. But here's the problem. Both players actually saw it. Knight e3. I mean, they are razor sharp. Here's the point. Taking back with check, king goes. Now hang on a minute, giving two minors for a rook, usually not good, but the queen was overloaded, so you win this one back. Incredible line. Unbelievable. So this was played instead. Now we see takes on c5, so that after captures here, Fabi can't lose this pawn because he's got a pin on the queen, and he's stopped that tactic now because the bishop's blocked. So Hikaru breaks that with queen d6, and now the best move here is takes on c5, opening the c file, keeping more lines of attack for this bishop, but instead we see the move of b5, killing a couple of white pieces in one go. The rook hits the center, hits the pawn, and knight d2 just says take it if you want it. Then I'm going queen g4 check, hitting your knight. The bishop can come back to c2, supported by the rook. It gets really dangerous as an attack. Knight e4 could be on the way. So instead, a practical move. This one centralizes, no longer a donkey but a stallion. Knight c4 hits the queen. You could have checked but not played. This one sidesteps, rook e1 played, bishop c7, and now the best way to go here is pawn b6. And the idea is that after bishop takes, not only are you opening lines, but there's also this incredible tactic, and it's bishop d7. Where on earth does that come from, right? Well, the queen's a bit overloaded. Again, if you take, then you take here, and you're winning the piece back like this, and white is an exchange ahead. Game goes on, roughly level apparently, with this knight being so good. Outside passer, but that's one line. If we run it back and you don't take with the queen, but instead the rook, this is the cooler line. Now the queen takes and check, forms this right triangle as Hikaru calls it, right? Obviously I've already seen his recap, and that's how the game would then carry on actually, but you've won back your piece. White doing well. So that was the way to go. Bishop d7, but missed. Rook e3 played instead. Fabi whispers, do you even rook cliff, bro? He's in incredible shape right now. We get king h8, king h1 played, b6 cementos everything. This bishop now crying, and Fabi just swings his big old rook across the board, preparing queen h5. So rook g8, queen h5. You could go rook g7 to stop the mate threat, but instead queen f5 does it, offers an exchange. Fabi obliges, difficult to know what else to do. The pawn was under fire. Knight takes back, and now bishop d1, desperate to re-enter the game. But look at this absolute octopus that Stocktopus can be proud of. Rook b1 meekly covers this pawn. But now Hikaru gets the invasion going. The king covers the pawn. These ones double on the file, and you've got a big problem with this bishop. The king scurries over. A pair of rooks leaving the board. King e1 just in time. But now the pawn drops off. King d2. The knight back to d4. Rook h6 goes for the desperate counterplay. And most of us are playing king g7. But this is just an awesome finish, right? We see b5, kicking the knight, and unleashing the bishop. You know, say you go here, the most natural move, well, look at this. You've just walked into checkmate in one with bishop a5. How well do these guys coordinate? That is absolutely awesome. So we run back. We saw knight b2, but now still check, and same problems. You've only got one square, so you're not quite getting mated, but you just can't get out the forking way of this one. Ends the game on the spot. Fabi resigns. The rook's dropping off the board. It's hopelessly over, of course. So Hikaru wins that game, and Fabi couldn't quite come back despite a queen sacrifice in the final blitz game. It was truly epic, but Hikaru takes it, and they'll move on to a kind of grand final thing tomorrow, Saturday 22nd of March. Hope to see you there soon. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a look at the video on screen for some more epic chess. Cheers.